Well, yeah, it's YouTube, so, things happen. I tried to go live, and it dismissed my live stream as soon as I hit go live. Then I panic and try to get back online before I lose everything and have to redo it anyway. But I'm here. How you doing? It's Jake Johnson here, coming to you straight from live on Untethered. How are you? I said that backwards, and I don't even care. That's how I feel today. How is everybody? Welcome to the show. Come on in, take your shoes off, set a spell. Think about some Satan statues. And some weird TV shows. MVTV, Fab Daddy, April. Much love. Good to see y'all. Glad you're here. I'm glad you missed the first part too, Fab Daddy. And yeah, I think we're working with alien tech. Fab Daddy says, I like MVTV shorts that are not shorts. They're kind of short. They're interesting. That's what matters, right? We'll hunt you down if necessary. It might be necessary. I've tried to go live at 8:30 sharp, and it just didn't work. It threw me. Threw me just like an old bull. Threw me right off the back. Happy Friday, everyone. Love you all, says April. Here's to Happy Fridays. MVTV, thanks, Fab Daddy. I don't have a smartphone to do those, and YouTube won't let you do it any other way. That's true. I'd like to thank Total Blackout Painting for the background. Take a look at that. Take a gander. This is good work. Look at that. It's hard to see from where you're at, but that's a person, Futurama guy. It just doesn't look right if it ain't centered up. But that's a good background, nonetheless. Thank you, Total Blackout Painting. Go check him out. He's got an Etsy store. He's on Facebook and YouTube. He does do some good stuff, MVTV. That's a fact. It's very specific. I kind of think I know how he does it. But what his end result is beautiful. So I'm all too happy to show it off. April, how you doing this fine evening? Are you out and about? I saw your short today, Jake. Hey. Nobody's supposed to be looking at that. I keep that behind my zipper for a reason. Oh. You must be talking about something else. Sorry, that was a panic reaction. What was the short of? I've done several. But I haven't done one recently, so what's it about? I'm kind of lazy in that department. I got so many other things going on that I just can't focus on doing the little short ones. I'm not that interesting. Today was a pre-show. Pre-show for what? Oh, the feral kitty cat videos. Nope, that's what MBTV says. Line dancers. Oh, I know what you're talking about. That must have been the last show that I did. I filmed a little before and after. Looking at the bar, looking at the setup. I think I know what you're talking about. April says, I'm all right. I'm just trying to keep calm and live, laugh, and love. Well, that's easier said than done. I say, panic and scream at the top of your lungs, fists held high. Not much else you can do. If the world we're currently living in has anything to do with it, we'll all be subjugated by next year. Might even change our names to numbers. Who knows? I'm wanting the fancy barcode tattoo. What do you think? Did you see what they put up in New York? Pretty lights and lots of knobs. I would press all the buttons. Yeah, I do, often. I already did that. Ha-ha. My daughter is 18. Jesus Christ, look out world. So is mine. Congratulations, Dad. Mine is now 18 also. Unbelievable. Seems like just yesterday she was sleeping on my chest. I don't know where that time went, but I miss it. Anyway, did you see what they put up in New York? You need to get a load of that. It is terrifying, to say the least. We've got some new things going on in the world, folks. Allow me to illustrate. Also, just goes to show there is very little talent out there. Statues. Good luck, dads. Cannot imagine. April says mine are my two are 21 and 30. Are they really? Has it been that long? Jesus. What did they put up? I'm getting there. There's a courthouse in New York where the one of those districts, I think it's the 9th district, but I can't remember exactly, but the Supreme Court meets there. And on the top, they have these statues of these lawgivers, Confucius and Zoroaster and Moses and several others. Well, they took Moses down. Moses, the giver of the law that's in the Bible that our law is based upon. They took him down and they put this in its place. Now, what they say this is a statue to commemorate Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And it's in honor of abortion. In place of Moses, where Moses' statue used to be. Now this one resides on our nation's courthouse. Now maybe I'm overthinking it. Does that look like Ruth Bader Ginsburg to you? Here's another picture of it from the side view. What does her hair remind you of? And there's the completed statue. Or there's a version of it. This same statue is on top of the courthouse. This one's in a little park down below. What's up, Michael Shepard, Mr. Bean, and GNW? Good to see everybody. Welcome to the show. I have trouble enough with 2 cats and a set of car keys to keep track of. They also took down Roosevelt. What now? Cycle this crap each mood? Pretty much. Oh, this is just one of them. Yes, it reminds me of Medusa. It also reminds you of Baphomet. If you don't know what Baphomet is, I'll show you in a minute. Probably all done on computer. No hands, because hands are hard. This is a joke. You are absolutely correct in a very astute observation. They purposely left the hands off of this statue for the very specific reason. All right. So there's this thing. Let's see if we can How do you spell Baphomet? I think that's right. There you go. This is a satanic statue. There's one. Get a load of that guy. I'm going to take it off the screen now because I don't like that. But just, you tell me. Does that and that have any similarities? Maybe I'm just crazy. Now, another statue placed in the world this month was in, I believe it was in Chicago. It's a Martin Luther King statue. It is designed to represent and to honor Martin Luther King. What do you think it looks like? Old black man? Nope. Looks like a penis. This is the Martin Luther King statue erected, I believe, in Chicago this week. Or this month, rather. She-devil, that's right. I feel an evil in control of these things. You can't be far from the truth there, Sasquatch. I like the art. Well, I'm sorry. Not everybody has a great taste. I'm just teasing you, but it's kind of strange. I'm crazy. The Embrace. Is that what this one's called? Well, I'm not the only one that's crazy. There's a large portion of the country up in arms about the loss of the old statues and the gaining of the new, because the new suck. Well, at least having the Georgia Guidestones blown to hell is encouraging, but would rather some civility and common sense, says MBTV. And who to make the decision to remove history is history. I agree with you 100%, MVTV. History is history, and if we remove it, we can't learn from it. And soon, it's forgotten. And if you have forgotten history, guess what that makes you? A person without a past. Past is where we learn from our mistakes. Past is where we grow into enlightened individuals. Past is how we get to the future. If you don't have the past, the future does not occur. It's called the embrace. Yes, it is. But what are we embracing here? Let me, just in case you think it's a play of angles, let me go to a different view. One thing I can tell you about this embrace statue is that no matter how you look at it, no matter which angle you view it from, it invokes sexual imagery. There is no way to look at this without having masturbatory thoughts of any kind. Whether it's your own thoughts or thinking that's what you're looking at. Hey, Satan is real. I know he's real. We're talking about him right now. It takes two hands to hold up that dick. It does if it's that big. And have you heard the rumors about some black guys? $10 million art project. Is that how much that thing cost? I'm ashamed. I always fight him. It's good, ATL. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the show. Shots. Head up something's ass. Yep. No matter how you look at it, I've looked at it from every angle. I've only got 3 pictures pulled up here, but because they pretty much, this is what it looks like all the way around, right? There's the back side of it, and there's side view. No matter how you look at it, it looks sexual. And it's supposed to be commemorating Martin Luther King. I don't see it. Do you? Someone please enlighten me as to how this image is respectful to a world leader. Not a leader, but, speaker. What's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm talking about. You know who he is. I can't think of the damn word. My brain is disintegrating, I think. Or excrement. One big solid one. It could be. I think it's ghastly. I think it is too. I got to tell you, I don't think that. Well, that's fine if you don't think that. What do you think? Should have added the bus lines at least. Well, you'd think. It's all money laundering. Don't be silly. It could be that too. I don't know. Looks like a body snatcher. Sucker creepy. Ugh. They need to fire that artist. I agree. MLK was an adulterer. Well, he may very well have been an adulterer. Does that look like adultery to you? Well, porn is considered, quote unquote, art by the wackos. Abortion is considered reproductive health care. Shaking my head. Did you see the one a minute ago that was the abortion statue? Supposed to celebrate Ruth Bader Ginsburg? This view reminds me of a giant Amazon River. Eel. Amazon River eel. Alpine, good to see you, Lily. What's happening? I don't feel sexual about this statue. Okay. Have you had your eyes checked recently? I'm just messing with you. I'm just showing this stuff off because it happens. Do you feel sexual about that view? Because it kind of looks to me like somebody's doing something to somebody or to themselves. That view, I've seen that view a few times. All right. What about this girl? How you feel about her? It derives from photos when MLK won the Nobel Peace Prize. He is lugging his wife, or he is hugging his wife. Oh. Okay. I don't see that, but okay. Even if it was solid copper, it would not cost $10 million. April says, me either, hug. Some is not porn. Nope, I don't know. Want to hear this? Come on, Jake. Huh? They have videos of people having sex for instructions. It's not porn. For the people that can't figure out what to do. Well, those are probably pretty beneficial. What's that got to do with what's going on over here? But I understand what you're saying. It is a slippery slope. No matter how you look at it, since the beginning of time, nudity has been subjective. Some people think it's art. Some people think it's pornographic. Well, how do you know what the difference is? This question came up in a Supreme Court hearing one time, and the judge ruled that you know it's dirty when you see it. It's either dirty or it's not. I guess it'll remain subjective. Pan. Looks like pan. Well, yeah. Dinosaurs or Dionysus. I don't know. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. Dionysus, is that what you're trying to write? Was this back in the giant days? No, this was this week, this month. They might have more pride in their work if they had to use actual skill, a hammer, a chisel, and a year to make it. I would agree with you, MVTV. Oh, if you want to see some real art, since we're making fun of these people's work, let's do this. Let me close this down. And better yet, let me go here. There's a piece of art. That is stone. In case you didn't know. There's one in particular I wanted you to see, but I don't know if I can find it. Get a load of that, would you? That takes talent. That is art. That looks like you could ruffle the silk with your fingers. That looks like you could squeeze her thighs with your fingers. That is a solid piece of marble. That is hard as a rock, and it looks wet almost. I encourage anybody to find a better sculpture that it looks like you can see through the silk. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen anything so beautiful. This is the head of the one I wanted you to see, but I can't seem to find the body of it. This may be it. Nope, that's just the torso. Where's the whole thing? There you go. This is the one I wanted you to see. Oh, stop it. I just want to see the picture, man. There you go. Look at that. That is solid. I assume that's marble. It's either marble or granite, but I think it's marble. Just look at that. It looks like you can see right through the stone. It looks like you could tickle her belly button and she would recoil in glee. It's amazing how they make fabric in stone. Yes, it is. A veil or a condom. Could be both. Hi, Julie. How are you? Welcome to the show. We also know beauty when we see it. I judge. Or judge. Are you calling me judge? I'm not saying you don't. I'm just pointing it out. Jesus, have you seen this before? Today, things like that are poured. Yes, well, that was chiseled out of a piece of solid rock by, I presume, one guy. Maybe a whole team. Who knows? Yeah, it is marble. That's right. Julie says hi to everybody, especially Fab Daddy. I know a few. That's insane. It is insane. Dang, I couldn't do that shading with a pencil on my best day. I agree. Lost arts. Yeah, I don't think this is possible anymore. I don't think there's anybody alive that can do it. And if they are, they're not doing much work because I hadn't seen any of their stuff, and it's very sensual, Fab Daddy. Yes, it is. Hi, Jake. Doing good, thanks. I'm glad you came by. We missed you around here. Settle down. It was in context with your own words, stating the judge ruled, porn when you see it. Oh, yeah. I got you. Sorry. I don't always follow the chat because I'm thinking about too many other things. You know how it is. You know me. Don't listen to me, ever, unless I want you to. But don't. I'm just a dude, man. Anyway, I can't get enough of this sculpture. I saw it this morning in another thing not related to what we're talking about, and it stuck in my mind all day, and when I decided to do this podcast, that's all I could think about. So I said, let's go find it. Believe me, when I hammer you, you'll know it. I hear you. You're falling for a statue, LOL. Not exactly. I'm just admiring it. It's beautiful. I mean, look at it. That looks like a human being. It looks like she's about to take a breath at any minute. Whoever did this sculpture, and I don't even care to know, but whoever did it had hands of pure magic. I just can't imagine how long it took to figure this out. I would like to see all of the practice work that they did until they figured it out, because you don't just do this on your first run, you know. You do this after many, many years of practice, and then it's probably not possible. I get reprimanded by old-timers years ago for calling him dude. That's because he probably thought a dude was a piece of shit out of an elephant's ass. Because that's what that word used to mean. It is extraordinary. It's beautiful. And like I said, the thing that baffles me the most is, even if you stare at it for a while, it looks like you can look right through the stone. Like in the silk, it looks like you can see through it. It's a complete trick, you know. I mean, it's solid rock. But just think about the knowledge it would take to figure out how to make solid stone look so dainty. It's amazing. Dude was an insult to him. He told me dudes are guys that can't ride horses. Dude rants for city folks. Yeah, well, I'm sure it had that meaning too. Most words have been around for quite some time. One of my favorite pastimes is looking up the meanings and the origins of words. Because without words, we don't have language. And without language, we can't talk about how awesome this statue is. These masterpieces are one reason God / the gods, lowercase g, haven't already purged us out of disgust. I agree. Except for the gods part. They don't have any power. But whoever did this had some power. I imagine he could command any price he wanted. And what makes me upset about looking at something like this, I don't know if I can articulate this thought or not. I'll try. People always talk about how old the earth is, how old, billions of years old. And I think they're crazy. There's no way. And when I see things like this, it's proof to me that I'm correct. Why? Because we can't do this now, but at one time we could. Because this isn't the only statue or the only maker. Go to Egypt as far as you got to go to see some of the most beautiful statues ever carved out of solid granite or red marble or whatever it is they did. And it's pure. It's perfect. It's symmetrical. It's mathematically correct. You can't do that with a chisel or by hand, by the way. And we don't know how to do that today. And so to me, these secrets cannot be that far removed from where we are. I would say they're relatively recently lost because we're still attempting to do things like this. We just quite forgot how. Anyone can chop a picture. Let's say earthbound forces. I agree with you, MVTV. I think one of the biggest problems is innovation. Innovation has fueled this world to go forward and higher in such a fast amount of time. 200 years ago, we were living by fire. 4,000 years ago, we still were living by fire. So the last 200 years, we've done everything that this civilization is right now. All the cities, all the tech, all of the everything. We did it all in 200 years. The first shot to the moon, if you subscribe to that sort of thing. On and on and on. Battleships, tanks, nuclear bombs. We did it all in 200 years. But for 4,000 years before that, right at 5,000 years before that, we hadn't done any of it. There was a brief period of time where civilization could arguably had been more advanced than we are now in certain areas, but not in the areas that we're advanced in. And that went away. And then a long period of what I would call the Dark Ages. And then civilization boomed again. So why can't people do things like this anymore? innovation. We tried to make things easier by coming up with better, quicker ways to do things, and sometimes you lose quality when you gain speed. And I think that happened, like making a smaller brick. Well, you got smaller bricks. It takes all your energy to produce those smaller bricks, so it takes up most of your time. And then you build houses with small bricks, and it's a fine house. It's not a stone cathedral, but it is a fine house. But you innovated, so you got smaller bricks. You don't have to work with the stone anymore, so you don't have to have anybody that knows how. See what I'm saying? And over time, you just lose those ideas. They've shown impossible symmetry with the huge Ramses III statue. Yes, supposedly some problem about not being able to perfectly reproduce except on a computer screen. Well, the thing is it's symmetrical on both sides. Like if you took a picture of it and then cut the picture in half and then took that half a picture and mirrored it and then flipped it and put it back together, you would have the same picture as if you took it standing in front of it, because it's exactly the same on both sides. That's not possible by hand. A human being cannot do that. It can't be done. There will be an imperfection. There'll be something different. It won't be symmetrical perfectly. Diego, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. I also love art from the Renaissance. Yes, we're talking about specific art. This one in particular is just fascinating. Projects took generations. Yes, they did. Not hours. Well, when you don't have to go for generations, you don't have to think as hard about the thing you're doing. If you don't have to pass it down, you know what I'm saying? If you can get it done in 2 or 3 days, you don't need to tell anybody what you're doing. Just go do it. Of course, that's the limit of what you can do. And nobody will ever improve upon it because you didn't share what you did to start with. That's my opinion anyway. I think that's kind of how we lost the ability to make things like this. And it happened rapidly because there are a lot of things in the old world that we cannot reproduce to this day. To this day, today, we cannot move the stones that are in the Great Pyramid. We'd have to use every resource on earth to move them by, the way we move things. There's no truck. There's no crane. No single one anyway. You might could do it with 4 or 5 of them. But there's no instrument on earth that can pick up one of those stones and move it to another location. Yet they supposedly did it by hand with ropes and copper chisels and wooden hammers. I ain't buying it. If today we can't move it across the parking lot, how did they move it 500 miles in the shape it was in from the quarry and then lift it up some 400 feet in the air and put it into place? Can't build a ramp. I know you're thinking ramp, but no, it would take more material to build the ramp than it would to build the pyramid. So that doesn't make any sense at all. There's less and less mentorships, correct? Older teachings, the young, on serious apprenticeships to learn the craft of skill, from horseshoers to metalworking. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have taken on some mentorships in my youth. I have been apprenticed. I am an entered apprentice. I'm also a master. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. Some of you may not. If you don't know, just listen. It sounds pretty. They make mannequins that look real. I don't know. Who makes them? A machine makes those. They're poured into a mold and then they're pressed into existence. And they look real, but they're made out of plastic. PVC, actually. They created a desert from logging it. Interesting. Not correct at all, but interesting. They tried that in the Easter Island thing, too. Didn't work. The reason I'm saying it's not correct at all is because that desert was created by another thing that I happen to know about, and it wasn't from logging. There are no trees or anything like that missing from that area. The land died. It died because of the arid nature of its origin, because the planet moved. And it'll happen again. It's happening in the Sahara Desert right now. It's actually on the rebound. In another 1,000 years, the Sahara Desert will be green. Yeah, they do make wax figures also. They don't make mannequins out of wax because they would, melt. But they do have wax museums. And they do make likenesses of people with wax. All right. Another thing I wanted to talk about tonight is some of the weird shows I've been watching lately. You guys got any shows that you are into? The Middle Ages also gave us some great art. Yes. All ages have given us great art of different variants, including this one, by the way. I mean, I'd put Jimi Hendrix up against any painting. Interesting to be so confident about your own surety of history, all based on similar sureties. Everybody else is wrong. I never said everybody else was wrong. Not an attack. Devil's advocate here. It's not an attack. Okay. Well, I'm not sure of my history. I'm sure of my education, which I got from other people. I didn't decide it myself. I'm not laying the law here. I'm just talking about what I happen to know about. So it's not me. It's the world. And if you want to know about deserts and things like that, it's not very hard to find. You can Google it. I've been watching a lot of true crime lately. Okay. True crime's pretty interesting. I went to a wax museum. I'm standing by the man Elvis. Woohoo. I hear you. I watched the Jack J show. I don't know what that is, unless you're talking about me. That would be Jake. But I'll take it. You instantly dismissed the log theory and the ramp theory as in, nope, no chance. Well, that's where you're wrong. I understand why you would feel that way, and I would typically agree with you because instantly dismissing ideas is not a good way of thinking. However, I didn't instantly dismiss these ideas. These are subjects I've been studying over the last 30 years. I've come to those conclusions based on years of research. I just happen to be talking about it now. You understand? So if you have watched any of my previous podcasts on this subject, which there are a few, some of which I went into detail about some of these things, you would know that I'm not just instantly dismissing the ideas. I tell you what, build a pyramid out of rubble, any shape, any size, and then get you a bucket of sand and build a ramp. What you're going to learn about a ramp is that instantly anything above 10 degrees in pitch, you will not be able to pull a stone up by hand because it's too steep of an incline. So it has to be less than 10 degrees, which makes the ramp really freaking long so that you can get it up there. Or you'd have to go around in a counterclockwise or clockwise rotation around the pyramid. Either way, it's going to take quite a lot of material to fill up the rubble underneath that ramp to then beat it down tight enough that you could make a smooth enough surface. Hard enough has to be tamped down, which makes more material required and harder material required to build that ramp to get something up 400 feet in the air like a, granite sarcophagus. You're going to be using more material than is in the pyramid. That's not an instant thought. That's a mathematical certainty that I've come to the conclusion of over 30 years of research. So you understand where the decay here is in the conversation? I'm not talking out of my ass. I'm not elaborating on every detail. But you are correct. Instantly dismissing ideas as foolish. Wrong, too, Fab Daddy. Sounded pretty sure to me. Again, I'm just poking you. That's cool. I'm just poking back. You know I love you. I'm waiting patiently for Blacklist. I don't think it's coming back, honey. It might be. But I think Reddington's done. I hope he comes back, though. I enjoyed that show, too. But I think 5 or 6 seasons is what it ended up being. And I think that's pretty much it. Could be a combination. Could be a local difference. Could be, but it's not. We already know the answers to these questions. That's why it's not a could-be situation. Could be a lot of things of which we don't know, but I do know. That's why I said it. I don't say things I'm not sure of. Unless I'm bullshitting, and then you know that's not that kind of conversation. One thing. What then happened to all that ramp dirt? That's my point. There's no rubble. Because after you've built that ramp that's less than 10 degrees, with all the material it takes to do, then you got to take it down and put it somewhere. That means it's still there. Or it was used in another thing. There's only 2 options you have. You can't get rid of it. It's made out of earth. You could fill a hole with it, but we'd have found the hole. People have been digging in the desert for the last 500 years, or probably longer than that. I wonder what the base looked like. The very center rock. Are you talking about the pyramid? Yeah, that's interesting. Some people think that they built up rubble first, like a hill, and then built the pyramid around it. Some people think that it's that slab that the floor of the Giza Plateau is covered with. There's 2 giant slabs of concrete or stone, however you want to look at it, that's been shaved down smooth under the pyramids, right? Some people think they started there and then built up every layer. So I don't know. The only way you could know is to tear it apart. There are some other pyramids that are built that way with a pile of rubble first, and then they built around it, used it as the foundation, more or less. It was clay, and it was hotter than a fire in the Amazon. They were giant. Are you talking about the pyramid stones? That is also a theory, that the stones were not cut, but cast. But by the way, not the ones in the pyramid. You're getting ideas crossed. The ones in the Amazon, the great stones and the great walls, they all look like they've been molded. The ones in the pyramid were specifically cut from a quarry 500 miles away. And they not only know where the stones came from, but they can take you to the place they were cut out of the wall. So that's a little different. But there is a place where they think the stones were molded out of soft material and then hardened over time. And that's a possibility. They carried it to the next pyramid. They carried what to the next pyramid? I don't recall exactly. China, I think. These massive, amazing caverns, covered walls like with machines and big mystery, is no sign of the billions of tons of waste rock it had to make. I think I know what you're talking about. It's like an underground thing. It's like a network of tunnels. I think there's 2 or 3 places on Earth like that. One is in China, one is in India, and the other one is somewhere in Europe, but I don't know exactly where. But there are several places that are clearly underground cities, but no idea how they dug them. They were buried in tombs. What she's referring to are the reason for pyramid builders. Ancient Egypt was a place of mystery. The Egyptologists maintain that pyramids are tombs for the pharaohs. They maintain that to this day. They will not change that story, despite the fact that all of the pharaohs, all of them, are buried at the Valley of the Kings 6 miles away. None of them are buried in pyramids. Not one body has ever been found in a pyramid, ever. Unless it was a grave robber that died in a pyramid. So that's bogus. So don't know why they did it that way, but that's what they're sticking with. So that's actually the detail that turned me off of science, by the way. Believe it or not, I used to be a lefty. And I used to believe in science wholeheartedly, like I believe in religion. Until I started running into these questions that I couldn't seem to get answered by anybody. Simple questions like, if the pyramid is a tomb, why is the pharaoh that built it buried in the Valley of the Kings in a tomb? Also, the word pyramid means fire in the midst. That don't sound like a tomb to me. Sounds like an actable thing, something you do. How come nobody can answer that? They still can't, by the way. Any more art? Not specifically. I got one for you. Here, you ought to like this one. There you go. There's a piece of art for you. Logs and dirt. You're sticking with it, Fab Daddy, huh? I got you. Nile Valley. Amazon is a different continent, correct. You think the India one? Yeah, I've heard about those places. They're quite fascinating. And they seem to be self-sufficient, meaning that there are air shafts built, so you could close the thing off and people in there could breathe and stay a certain temperature of warmth. And you could have animals. There's places for animals in there. It's really fascinating. By the way, France has catacombs that are the same thing. Miles and miles and miles. You could get lost down there and never find your way out. That they know about. They're there. They're just they're off limits to the public for the most part. But nobody knows who built them or why, but they're there. The Russia Salt Mine Church are beautiful. Yes, they are. There is a place, and I don't know where it is, but I think it's in the Philippines, where there are churches built out of a mountain. But the way they built them was they dug down from the top of the mountain and carved every detail of the church as they went down. It has facades, it has statues, it has overhangs, it has windows, it has rooms inside. But they did it one layer at a time all the way down, and we're talking like a huge cathedral. There's like 6 of them in a row in these big mountain bluffs. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I have no idea how they did that. They had to be working with math that you just can't do on paper, you know. Or I can't. Maybe you can. I can't. I was referring to the heat. How hot was the sand? Sand, yes. Well, I would imagine it was pretty hot. Have you ever been to a sand dune before in the middle of summer? It gets pretty hot. It's even hotter in Egypt. I think it gets up to like 108 degrees on a regular basis there. Very arid, very hot. I believe in science, but not the clubs it became. It must be fluid. It must be open to new finds, theories, with the research and evidence to back it up. Archaeology really suffers from this today. Correct, MVTV. I believe in science as it was stated originally. To falsify, to study, to learn, to come up with theories and then try to disprove those theories rather than coming up with theories and then trying to find evidence to back them up. which is the wrong way to do it. It's evil, that's why, Jake. It could be. I don't know. I have no idea. All this stuff is from a world we are not part of. That world ended. This world is a new one. And I don't know if those secrets or mysteries will ever be solved. There's just no way to know, you know. Needed a place to store the dead. Maybe. The plague happened. I don't know if the plague had anything to do with the pyramids. I think that's a different time. Labella in Ethiopia is the sunken churches carved out of the rock. Okay, thank you, MVTV. Appreciate that. It's Ethiopia, not the Philippines. Catacombs. Oh, yeah. The catacombs were for the plague. You're absolutely right. Well, they used them for the plague. That's not why they were built, though. They were already there. Remember the cubit and the measurements it speaks of in the Bible. Yes, I remember. A cubit is whoever the Pharaoh is. From his elbow to the tip of his middle finger is a cubit. And it changes with whoever the Pharaoh is. Or it did at the time. Now there's a standard in practice, and we have two different types of measurements. We have the metric system and the imperial system, which we use in America. But they're standard. They're set. So now a foot is a foot is a foot. Or a meter is a meter is a meter. But in those days, time and measurement were flexible. We're ironically in the middle of history's greatest pandemic of the woke virus. Yeah. Our first mental disease pandemic of stunning contagiousness. I would have to agree with you wholeheartedly. All based off the kilo. It is curious about these things because it seems like if the world was so old and the people have been here for so long, there wouldn't be people coming to realizations that they're coming to currently, ideas and thoughts that are coming to fruition. And if you can stand back far enough, you can kind of see it. But things are happening to people mentally that should have happened ages ago if the world was that big and that old. Or has it happened ages ago? Does it happen every generation? Who knows? I can think back to stories that my mom told me and my grandma told me from her time to the day that I live in and my children and see what they're going through. That's 5 generations right there. 4. So, it seems to me like it's moving kind of fast. I think the metric system is pretty neat, based on 10, straightforward, but can never embrace it after growing up on the imperial measurement. Yeah, I think it's neat too, but it's too hard to remember. No wonder rats are taking over the world. Scientists test medication on rats. Ugh. Well, no, they don't. They test medications on mice, which are not rats. What's in New York City is a rat. What's in a lab is a mouse. They're not the same species. They are the same animal. But there's a reason, and white mice mostly because they're easy to breed and they're easy to keep up with. Oops, imperial is British. Feet and inches can easily visualize metric. Forget it even knowing the conversation. Look up copper iron design in Napa, California, to see some art I helped make. Copper iron design. Let's see what you helped make. Hold on, I'm looking. Let's get rid of this other stuff. There we go. Copper iron designs, Napa. Tell me when to stop. I think you've showed me this before. It's this one, right? Is that it? Cool, Fab Daddy. Got to be good. Same principle. Ugh, they're nasty. Yes, they are. Not that one. Okay. Let's see. This one? I swear I remember being on this page before, but I can't remember which one we looked at. Is it on the page that I'm looking at? That's the kind of actual object art versus the only things I try on paper. Go find the grape leaves. Grape leaves. Grape leaves. I don't see it. Unless you're talking about that. Damn it. I want that gate. That's a nice gate, isn't it? Is that what you're referring to? It will be under railings. Okay. So let's say copper iron designs, railings. Grape leaves. Am I getting close? Maybe you can put a link in the chat and I can put it on screen. Because I don't see any. I see that. That's kind of grape leafy. But I don't think that's the one you showed me. It seems like I remember it looking like this one. But maybe different. But it's been a while. The one I have now is 3 loose poles strung with barbed wire. Not exactly the entrance of South Fork. South Fork. Those were the days. That's a good segue. Thank you. Let's talk about TV shows. Anybody got any really cool TV shows they're watching lately? I've got 3 in particular that I watched that I thought were very interesting. And they go as such. Raised by Wolves. Raised by Wolves is a Ridley Scott project that was done on HBO Max. It's a very creepy and weird story that you will have trouble following. But it's fantastically beautiful and ridiculously interesting. And so the synopsis of that is, after Earth is torn apart by religious differences and the human race teeters on the edge of extinction, an aesthetic android architect sends 2 creations, mother and father, to start a peaceful, godless colony on planet Kepler 22b. From executive producer Ridley Scott, Raised by Wolves follows mother and father as they attempt to raise human children in this mysterious virgin land, a treacherous and difficult task that's jeopardized by the arrival of the Mithraic, a deeply devout religious order of surviving humans. As the androids make contact with this zealous and dangerous people, they struggle to control the beliefs of their fiercely self-determining children. Now, if that don't tickle your fancy, I don't know what would. That's got everything. You can find it on HBO Max, or you can download it the improper way. The next one I'm watching as we speak, I've already finished Raised by Wolves, is a show called Severance, done by Apple TV, or Apple Plus. Severance is another one of these weird, unusual, hard-to-follow storylines. And its synopsis is much shorter. 2022 winner of 2 Emmys. Mark leads the team of office workers whose memories have been surgically divided between their work and personal lives. They begin a journey to discover the truth about their jobs. And what this story is about, it's about you make the decision to hire on to this company, and then they put a chip in your brain. So when you go to work, when you get in the elevator and you go up the elevator, your memory switches off from your personal life, and it switches on your work life. So you have no memory of work when you leave work, and you have no memory of your life when you get to work. It's like you're 2 different people. You're bifurcated. And by the way, they don't know exactly what they're doing. They're just like crunching numbers, but they have no idea what the numbers mean. And so the people that are at work are like they're always there, because as soon as they get on the elevator to leave, when the door opens again, they're back at work because they have no memory of their life outside of work. Same thing with the people that go home. It's very interesting. So, Jake, do you have Apple iTunes and HBO Max? And what else? Paramount Plus? Good for Yellowstone, but the rest is crap. I got enough with Amazon and Netflix, and I need a package somewhere. I don't have any of those things. I get my TV shows and movies the old-fashioned way. Julie says, I love Supernatural. That's a great show. I loved it too. Come back with the Winchester Boys. Well, they do have a new show, but it's only one of the Winchester Boys. And he's only in it sometimes. What's his name? Jensen Ackles. That's it. He's in it, but the other guy isn't. The Sam character, I can't remember his name. He plays Walker now. But I heard it was good, but I haven't watched it yet. Now, the next show that I've been watching is a little bit of a guilty pleasure because it reminds me of things they made in the 80s. It's called Wong and Winchester. Speaking of the Winchesters, has nothing to do with them. Wong and Winchester is a light and fun female-driven procedural about an ex-cop turned private eye. I'm a sucker for private eye shows. Marissa Wong, who ends up being forced to work with Sarah Winchester, an inexperienced young woman fresh out of university. In each episode, the unlikely duo attempt to solve their clients' cases, which often end up being more dangerous than they first appear. Marissa is messy, snide ex-cop with mother issues and a disastrous love life with her former partner, Martin. When Gary Johnson, her partner at the private eye firm, hires his niece. That's funny. I thought it was his daughter. Oh, anyway. His niece to be her driver. Marissa couldn't be more annoyed. Sarah, who is bubbly, overeducated, and consistently ethical, has an annoying abundance of enthusiasm. However, Marissa begrudgingly starts to acknowledge that Sarah's actually pretty helpful in solving cases. She's good at things Marissa fails at, like interpersonal skills, attention to detail, and having a valid driver's license. If Sarah drives her crazy along the way, that's okay. They'll solve the crime anyway. And that's what we have. So if you dig those shows, or if you hadn't watched them, go watch them. They're good shows. They have my stamp of approval. Wong sounds too modern girl power to me. I can see this from picture. I likely would snub it. But if Jake suggests it, well, see, you were beginning to understand what trust means. Do you think I would tell you about something that was too woke? I mean, granted, you're not going to get away from it. It's everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. That's the way of the new world. But it's not too woke. There is pushback. It is interesting enough to watch and not feel like you're being beat over the head with the message. If I recommend it, it's good enough to watch, I promise. You'll soon learn that I have excellent taste in movies and TV, if you don't know that already. I can't recall, but I saw an MGM Plus preview from, I think, a small town harassed by monsters at night. And if you stumble into it, you can't get out. Seems like I remember something like that. Like you go into the town and you can't leave because it just keeps bringing you back to town. I seem to remember a preview like that. Resident Alien is an excellent show. It's a little weird, but it's excellent. It stars the guy that played Wash in Firefly. Can't think of his name right now. It's a great show, though. And I am watching that one, too. I just hadn't caught up with the last few episodes. I like Carol Burnett Eunice, LOL. Mom counted cars. The Count, oh yeah. Well, I liked Carol Burnett when it was on TV. I hadn't seen it in quite a while. I'm sad about Henry Cavill leaving The Witcher. Me too. I think that's a stupid thing to do. And by the way, he's not Superman anymore. Go figure. I don't know why they're snubbing that guy. He is, in my opinion, Hollywood's best shot right now. That guy could be anybody. He could be James Bond right now. He could be Sherlock Holmes. He already is in that stupid feminist Enola Holmes movie. The episode when they played Sorry is classic. It was a 7. Yeah, family. All in the Family or Mama's Family. But yeah, I didn't watch The Witcher because I'm not into that kind of thing. But I watched enough of it to know that he did a good job at it. And I think he's a great actor. I really do. I like Henry Cavill, however you say it. He was a great Superman. I think he's probably the best person for it right now. I can't imagine anybody else doing it, but I assure you, the guy they're going to get to do it next, you're not going to like it. You know what happens when you take a clam out of water? Put it on dry land? The same thing that's going to happen to women when they see the new Superman. They're going to dry up and clamp shut. I hate to say it, but I think that's what Hollywood wants you to do. They are definitely not promoting the more lascivious nature of life. Watching Harvey Korman and Tim Conway losing it on stage, trying their best not to laugh, is the best. Oh, Mama's Family, and yes, on Cavill. Left because the damn writers ignored the source material. Yeah. You're talking about The Witcher, not Superman. Yes, it got a little wokey, too woke, and they were going away from the game. So he decided to walk away from that. But he's coming back in something. Gods of War, I think it is. Or something 4K. I don't know. Something I don't know anything about. But he's coming back. I read they're planning to do another young Superman version. Yes, they are. April says, I like the one when they played charades. Who is they? Or were you still talking about Carol Burnett? Got to be specific. Unparalleled. I love them. MVTV, says Julie. Clams can live out of water for days. So can women. When they open up, they be dead. You are correct. In this case, though, they clamp shut and dry up, which is what's going to happen when the new Superman is unveiled to all kinds of women. Staying close to the source material was one of the reasons Cavill agreed to do it in the first place. Yes, he was damn good as the Witcher. I agree. Yes, Julie. Tim Conway as the world's oldest man, etc. I did like Tim Conway. He was a very funny man. Unfortunately, much like our fine art, the way of comedy is going the way of the dodo. It just ain't like it used to be. And that's sad for the whole world. Because I really think comedy is the gatekeeper of the sacred cows. And if you can't slay the sacred cows, you live in a totalitarian world that is dictated to you by someone higher than you. And that's never good. It's never, ever, 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 ever good. Communism, always. Socialism, always. Marxism, always ends in starvation and genocide. Always. Never has it ever, ever worked. Never will it ever, ever work. I'm sorry. They should remove those thoughts from people immediately, but then I would be a Marxist. No vulgarity, no sexuality references. All character, plot, and setup. Now, most of it is just F this and F that, and all hostile, mean or demeaning, speaking to choir. Yes. I still think of that show. I still think of that show Walker is. Yeah, MVTV, I think you're right. The idea of an erotic movie does not exist anymore. I've seen them try, and they can't do it. Whatever happened in Hollywood is like a nuclear bomb went off in their brains. They can't do it anymore. There's no eroticism, which I miss tremendously. There's no comedy, which I miss tremendously. There's no thought behind plot. I mean, all plots are very simple, very direct, easy to figure out. I mean, it's almost like you've already seen the movie. I can't tell you how many new movies I've seen, and I'm like, I already know what's going to happen as soon as it starts. It's like they're telegraphing. They're telegraphing the plot as they go. They tell instead of show. It's not good. I don't know if entertainment will recover from this new way of thinking. It doesn't look like it's going to. Yeah, while an impatient corpsman tries not to lose it. Well, look what they are trying to normalize now. Actual assault on children, for one. What could possibly be next? I watched Megan. I've got Megan. I haven't watched it yet, so don't give away anything. But is it as bad as I think it's going to be? Or is it any good? I'm actually scared to watch that movie. Clint Eastwood is a genius. Yes, he is. And possibly dead, if you believe Facebook rumors. I can't imagine how less I would think of women if I grew up with every kind of porn available at the click of a mouse. Well, so I hear. Yeah, you don't even own a mouse, do you? I ain't ever seen a mouse. Honest. Last porn I looked at was in a magazine. No, it's not just that. It's coupled with this unrealistic way of portraying women in movies today. It's like going to get somebody killed because they are convincing people that they can do things that they cannot do and presenting as if it's real, not as if it's a fantasy movie. Like when I was a kid and I watched Superman fly off into the great unknown, it never occurred to me that I could possibly do that. But when I watch Black Widow and I see what that girl does and gets away with doing and how many things she survives, that's not presented as fantasy. That's presented as physics. The story's fantasy, but what she's doing is a physical thing. When I saw Christopher Reeves fly off, I knew it was a film trick. You know, it's fantasy. They're not presenting it that way anymore. And it's going to get somebody killed. I don't care who you are, how tough you are, what you're made of. If you weigh 90 pounds, you cannot sling a 300-pound man who is mad at you around like a rag doll. It's going to hurt you. I watched Hang 'em High, and I loved it. The Critical Drinker gave Megan a pretty good nod. I trust him. Yeah, I trust him too. Maybe it won't be so bad. I kind of worry about that movie, though, but I'll give it a shot. Good point, Jake. I know I absorbed the essential lessons from just about every movie, story, or TV show I saw, when honor, hard work, consequences, and character were the lessons. Right. Those things are presented as reality in the old movies, but the fantastical stuff is presented as TV tricks. It's a fantasy. You know it's a fantasy. You're watching it and you know it's fake, right? Well, the same underlying things like honor and hard work and consequences and character that used to be underlying the message now is you can do anything you want to do. You don't have to try. You can walk through walls. You can lift cars or fall out of one. It's fine. You'll be fine. You never get hurt. There's no consequences. This is a bad message. It's going to get somebody killed. Shoot, look at Looney Tunes. Yeah. They don't make cartoons like that anymore. Let me ask you a question. Let's just look at that metric, okay? Just that. Let's just ignore everything else. We're just talking about cartoons. Watch Cartoon Network or anything that's presented to children today. Teletubbies or whatever's out there. I don't even know. I've seen some of it because I've had kids recently within the last 20 years. But look at any of that. And look at the stuff we watched when we were kids. Way more violent. Way more adult humor in nature. Were there any school shooters when we were kids? Was there any mental acuity problems? SpongeBob is great. SpongeBob is not great. SpongeBob will poison a child. I know because it did it to my son, and it took me 6 years to get him to stop doing what he was doing because of SpongeBob. His behavior. Think of that today. Some state trying to make it easy to choose your gender or some not, or some rot. Suddenly, 80% of our kids are doubting their very natures. It's evil suggestion. Yes, it is. And it's everywhere. And they're promoting it. And it's the new cool thing. It's going to get worse. They have an animated cartoon Batman, and it's bloody. I'll put it up against any Tom and Jerry any day of the week, and I bet Tom and Jerry's more violent. Rick and Morty, yeah. I've seen a couple of those. I'm not very impressed. I know a lot of the cartoons are using that style of animation now, just for the art side of it. I don't care too much for it. But, you know, to each his own, I guess. I prefer the animation from back, like when the Transformers was out, and Gargoyles and that sort of thing. I prefer that type of animation better, more realistic. I know that the quality wasn't that good because the TVs were bad, but the idea was there. Right, that's it. Gender dysphoria is becoming the cool trend. Along with everything disgusting, we're doomed. Well, that's one of the reasons I started the Bible study. And the reason I did that is because I know we're doomed. And somebody needs to give some hope somewhere, because it ain't being talked about a whole lot. And that's why I do it. One of the reasons. There's 3 main reasons. 2 of them I'll share. But if I don't do it, I feel like it's not going to get done. And I know there's lots of people out there reading the Bible, but there's also a lot of people out there that are getting it wrong and teaching people that. And yes, I am not jumping to a conclusion and assuming I'm right and everybody else is wrong. I've done the research. If I haven't proven that by now, I don't know if I can. It's simple things I have problems with. The complex stuff I've got down pat. I may be able to tell you how a pyramid is built. I may be able to tell you what happened in the Old Testament correctly, but I may forget to pay my light bill. Yeah, I have problems with simple stuff. Johnny Quest today would make race banner gay and Haji probably LGBTQ. What the fuck? Who knows? I don't think they would even put that on the air today. That would be considered problematic. As would most of the things we grew up watching, unfortunately. You ever went back and watched Magnum P.I. as an adult? Some weird stuff going on behind the scenes in that movie, or that show. Don't believe me? Just pay attention to Rick and TC and how they dress. I don't want to ruin that show for you, but kind of lighten the loafers there. And I've heard people say, well, it was the style. No, I grew up in that era. I never once dressed like that. It's not the style. It's that style for that type of behavior. It's not like they were wearing tube socks. Well, maybe on one occasion. Or bell bottoms. The one image that I call to mind that I remember is Rick wearing skin-tight hot pants, which are those little thin cotton shorts, a tank top, and a bandana around his neck, and socks pulled up to his knees. I love the master of the house, whatever, in Magnum, Higgins. His droll, that's Major Domo, by the way. Oh, Magnum, must you? Higgins was the Major Domo of Robin's Nest. Yeah, I miss that old guy. He was something else. One of a kind, that guy. I've never seen another actor like him, ever. And the new Higgins, by the way, is hot. Totally marriage material. But not Higgins. I like the direction they took the new character, but she don't make up for the loss of Higgins. I don't even know how you could recast that character. I don't think there's a human being alive that could pull that off. Going back further to Family Affair. Now that was a confusing, disturbing show to me. I don't think I ever saw that one. I watched only 2 episodes of Magnum P.I. Really? I loved that show growing up. I watched every one of them. That was what I wanted to be. I aspired to be Magnum when I was a kid. I even had the filthy mustache for a while, didn't I, April? I still wear Hawaiian shirts. Although I am not as good looking as Tom Selleck was. Something about that Mr. French bothered me. And the Buffy and Jody could never tell them apart. Oh, it's a soap opera. That's why I don't know what it is, because I never watched soap operas. Because, you know, I'm a guy. I'm just messing with you. No, but I was working at that time, so I never got into soap operas. Well, all right. That's been quite an interesting conversation we've had tonight. Won't you guys do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online? Smash that like button. It's right in front of you. It's free. It's effortless. And it really does help the channel with the algorithms. It helps us get recommended to other people. So won't you please do that? Share this video with people you love. Better yet, share it with people you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave comments down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid, or make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you dig what I'm doing and you can see the value in what I'm trying to create, if you agree or disagree, but if you understand that it's the conversation that matters and you'd like to help out and you'd like to help us reach a bigger audience, you can support my work by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. Or if you're a CashApp user, you can go to $jakejohnsonband. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me, and I greatly appreciate your support, and I will do everything in my power to be worthy of it. And with that, I will round out this video. Now, then in the mid-'70s, I had my brush with greatness when I saw the Carrot Top Kid get out of a car when visiting my friend's neighbor. Not a soap, a sitcom. Billy got his start on soaps. Interesting. Damn, too much information. An insufferable arse roll tonight. Folks, thanks for your patience. I will try lurking in the future. Good job, Jake. I don't want you to lurk. I want you to speak to me. If you don't push back on me, I don't engage and have thoughts. It's a conversation. That's what matters. Takes 2 to tango or more. I have no opposition to you disagreeing with me or pushing back on anything I say or questioning my validity, because I must prove myself occasionally. I understand that. As long as I continue to do so and you continue to come and listen, that's all that matters. So, you know, that makes for good content, and I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate every one of your thoughts and contributions. Even if I say you're wrong, I want you to say it. That's the whole point, because I'm not perfect. I can be wrong. You saying it is what matters. It's the exfiltration of ideas that matters. People must be allowed to speak. Ideas must be allowed to compete. If they aren't, then discourse is over and the world will end shortly thereafter. Okay, then. So what's up with that shirt? I can't find anything wrong, but I'm annoyed. Further, message retracted, rats. What's wrong with this shirt? It's nipply. It's one of those. Sorry. I'm back and I'm drunk, says Caucasian. Well, that sounds like a country song. I'm back. I'm drunk. It's on. She's fat. I'm drunk. We're gone. How about that? And maybe not in that order, or well, you know, I wish I could be drunk with you. I'm as sober as a judge. Not a good place to be. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. I do. I will see you on Sunday for some Bible study. I'm going to go to bed now. Take care of yourselves and each other. Don't do anything crazy. Be patient. Grit your teeth. Ball your fists up. And walk straight towards anything that terrifies you. But be nice. Be nice while you're doing it. Be polite. Be comforting to someone. Be courageous for someone. Be curious about someone. It takes other people to make you happy. You can't do it by yourself, regardless of what any self-help book says. You need people to complete the circle of life. So figure out a way to be nice to them. Enjoy your weekend. No work tomorrow, I hope. Not tomorrow. I'm off till Monday. And I'm going to take advantage of it because I'm tired. I've been pushing extra hard this past couple of months, and I'm ready for a break. But thank you for thinking about me, and I appreciate you. And I hope you're not snowed in up there. I know you've been doing some weather stuff. I hope it's not rough. I know that kind of weather gets pretty harsh, and I hope that you can manage. I'm with you in spirit. But I don't like cold weather, so I'm not with you physically. It's too cold here for me. I'm a Georgia boy. I need arid desert. And a box fan. When I was a kid, I had a big old metal box fan in the window blowing cold air on us at night in the hot summer nights. And you could sit in the middle of the night and you could almost hear a radio station coming through those winding up whatever's in that motor, getting hot and picking up radio signals, and the fan rotating would almost form a speaker cone, and you could hear radio coming out of it. I don't know if that still happens or if it happens with plastic fans, but it did with those old metal fans. And it's quite interesting. New storm tonight with sub-zero stretch on the way. But got what I need and a good internet connection. Well, that's good. Good night, says Julie. Good night, Julie. I enjoyed you being here. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope it was interesting. I try. I'm not the most interesting person in the world, but I make an attempt at it, so maybe I did it. Anyway, have a great night. Thank you all so much for being so interesting. You make my day. There's the forecast. Map click. If you want to check out the weather in MVTV's neck of the woods or wherever. I'm sure it does every bit of it. And I'm sorry you hate the shirt. I'll try to remember not to wear it. But I'm a fan of bowler shirts. That's what this is, essentially. I like Hawaiian shirts better, but I only have a few. All right, I'm going to go grab something to eat and go to bed. I love you guys. Have a great night, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you Sunday.